Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 14th of October. I want to talk about discernment in this time of great enlightenment, of great awakening, of expansion of awareness. Discernment in that we know the difference between enlightenment and pure insanity. Yeah, one is gold or the wheat, and the other is the tares. And we really need discernment. Because with the expansion of awareness, with the expansion of consciousness, it can take you to a point where your bubble bursts. Quite literally. You disintegrate. Consciousness bursts, it disintegrates. It can't hold it together anymore. And that we know where that point is. And when we listen to people that are bringing teachings of great enlightenment, that we know the difference of where it was expansion of mind or of consciousness and the bringing of true knowledge, and at which point they may have just gone into insanity and not to follow them there. I was thinking again about the Gnostic knowledge, the book of John, the secret book of John, which I would say that was an experience that was had under the influence of something. Most likely, they did use drugs. And I would say, if the Gnostics were really spiritual scientists, they would have allowed this to happen. You take drugs and you go whoosh, all the way out. They would have deliberately allowed that to happen. But then when the knowledge comes back, like the secret book of John, I would have said they would have looked through that, and as I said, they would have separated the wheat from the chaff, from the tares. They would have separated the nuggets of gold that were true knowledge from the ravings of a disintegrating mind, which is insanity. At that point, it is no longer enlightenment. That's where enlightenment goes into insanity. And I say we need to know the point where that happens, so that we do not follow into insanity. I said there's a lot in the secret book of John that speaks to me. Again, it speaks to me. There's a knowledge inside of me that is in agreement with what is being said there. And again, reading that, seeing what it says, knowing it inside of myself, again would illuminate a knowledge in me that maybe I wasn't aware of before. But this is what you have to do. You are the judge. You are the rock. You are the foundation. And it needs to be true according to you. You must see it as truth. You must know it as truth inside of yourself for it to be truth. There is a lot in the secret book of John where he goes way out. And then people would stand there, many would stand there and say, oh man, he was totally enlightened. In fact, he had knowledge that deep we can't even follow there. Yeah, or we must become greater ourselves to follow John into this deeper knowledge that we can't see anymore. Or to say at that moment when you can no longer get a hold of what he's saying is because he has gone into insanity. His mind, his consciousness is disintegrating. He's not keeping it together anymore. And I mean, under the influence of drugs, that's easily done. I mean, you have a rational mind, you have a knowledge, you are what you are, but you have imagination. Yeah, and that part of your mind is going to be activated as much as everything else. And it's probably your imagination that will take you into insanity if it is not controlled. And under drugs, you have no control. I was listening in the last while, I was listening to Sadhguru, and there was video about the raising of the Kundalini, because that was something that I was going to look into, because that has definitely got something to do with it, all these experiences, or maybe that is the experience, the Kundalini experience. And Sadhguru said there's many ways of raising the Kundalini. There's Kundalini yoga. I would say excessive fasting. It's probably another way. And he said that there's many ways by which you can do it. And he also said that Kundalini yoga is the most dangerous yoga there is. And it should only be attempted under the supervision of a master, not by yourself. He also said that, I think that's very true, at the moment, everybody wants to raise the Kundalini. Everybody will do Kundalini yoga. But you need to be prepared for that. Yeah, you need to go step by step. That is the highest form then, but you need to learn what comes before. And many people are not willing to do that anymore. They want all, and they want it now. They want it at the press of a button or the popping of a pill. They are unprepared for what will hit them. And Sadhguru said, and I can see that as truth. Yeah, I can hear that and know it is truth. He said, if you'll be given a gift that you are not prepared for, that gift is not good for you. And I could liken that on to giving a high-powered sports car to somebody who can barely drive, who has not got the maturity, is not responsible enough, and let him drive off with that. Chances are he won't survive it. And it's quite possible he will kill others on the way. Responsibility, you need to have, what he said, a focused mind, a trained mind, to handle that. Many don't have that. And they do not do the works to train their mind to withstand what is coming. So at the moment, again, this knowledge is being given to all. Everybody's cup is overflowing. And a lot of people will simply disintegrate. They will not be able to keep it together because they weren't trained to keep it together. Because disintegration is not enlightenment. That is insanity. That is the death of consciousness. Yeah, you might turn into pure energy after that, yeah, but it is the death of consciousness, because it is consciousness that is keeping it together to create the form, so to speak. Now, I myself, I said, I looked into the Kundalini thing, not something I want to attempt. And I cannot see how it's, I mean, it is a way, but whether it is the greatest way, I would question that. Because, as I said, you are bombarded with awe and a mixture of things, of real knowledge and imagination and sanity. And in the end, you will have to do the works afterwards to sift through that. Yeah? So you might get it all at that moment, yeah, great, but you still have to do the works afterwards to separate what is actually true knowledge, and at what point did you actually just fry. So yeah, it is the given of all at that moment, but or you could go, and I mean the way I was going, and I've said that, I wasn't actually aware of what it is I was doing, or fully understand what it is I'm doing. I'm starting to understand what it is I'm doing, but I said that through all those years, it felt to me like I was having a conversation through a door, and the door was about that far open, and that was it. Yeah, and I'm holding on to the doorknob with all my strength so that the door will not fly open completely. So instead of letting the door fly open and sorting it out afterwards, why, restrict what you are taking in, sorting it out before it comes in, bit by bit by bit. Building something, building a knowledge in yourself, bit by bit, step by step. So sort it out beforehand, or as it happens, let's say it like this, sort it out as it happens, bit by bit. I think would be another way, is what I'm doing. As I say, I wouldn't want a Kundalini experience, to be quite honest. But I mean, if it were to happen to me now, and to many it does happen, even if they don't want it to, I would know what to do with it. I would know that it's not all, oh, I'm so enlightened, but that I have to sit through it, that I have to do that works. I said, many have that Kundalini experience and they're not doing the works. They just think it's all enlightenment. It's not. There is a difference between enlightenment and insanity. And the further out you go, the more you go into insanity. Now, I was wondering if I should say this, but again, you know from experience. I mean, that is one of the rocks you need to hold on to. Is your own experience, your own knowledge, yourself. Hold on to yourself. And in my own experience, I lost my nephew. My sister lost her son in August, and he was under the influence of drugs for a long time, and he was beginning to, what he said, hearing his demons, was becoming convinced that he was on some sort of messianic mission. He was he had been appointed some sort of messianic mission. And I was wondering just this morning if he had been able to hold it together to a point where he would still have some, or display some sort of authority, which he didn't. But if he had been able to do that, could he have gathered followers that would have believed? And have become the next great cult leader, something like that. As it happens, he came off a 6th-floor balcony instead. And that was the end of that. But here it is. There is a great opening at the moment. There's a great energy. And the trick is not to be swept away by it, but to be in control, to hold it together. Not for consciousness to completely disintegrate, but for consciousness holding it together. Take out of it what will serve you, the nuggets of gold that will serve you. But don't allow it to sweep you out to where you will drown. Now, I'm wondering where this is coming from. This energy. Some say cosmic waves, and I'm not sure that is what is actually happening. Or if we are producing the energy ourselves. I think we are the source of these waves of energy. And I can feel them again, and it wasn't this weekend, but the one before, where it was very strong. And where I found it very hard, again, to keep it together. My head was swimming. To have any rational thought, coherent thought. It was very hard. I was all over the place. And I quite often can have this feeling and then look at the Schumann resonance. And there was a whiteout at that moment. But I really think it is us that are coming together in agreement about something, or thoughts that come together that create the energy. When we come together, we amplify the energy, and we are creating these waves. It's like if you are in a crowd and you're being swept away by the energy of the crowd. Or in other words, those moments, those waves might be moments of mass psychosis. Again, I find afterwards, there are moments of something comes up, something comes to awareness. But as I said, those are only nuggets out of everything. And it's holding on to the nuggets and holding on to yourself. You are the rock, you are the judge. You need to be the rock in those waves and keep it together. Again, the also enlightened ones, the ones that allow themselves to be swept out, they're saying you're holding on to ignorance. You're not. You're holding on to your truth. You're holding on to who you are. You're holding on to the I am. And that is not ignorance. And what they're experiencing is not enlightenment. It is insanity. Know the difference. And this really, I think that is the reason why so many of us are getting so extremely tired and exhausted at the moment. Because we are, even if we're not aware of it, of what it is we're doing, but I think we're really, really tired and exhausted because we're trying to keep it together, to hold on to consciousness, to hold on to sanity, whilst everybody else is going insane around you. But those are the ones that will make it through. We will lose many on the way. Many. On drugs, on Kundalini experiences. There's many of us that will disintegrate around us. And they will be gone. those that hold on to what they know, judge by their own knowledge, let in what is of service, and disregard which is not, what is not. They will make it through, and they may even grow through this experience. So last thing, I printed out a poem this morning, and that is Kipling, I think it is, yeah. The poem If. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing again, only the bits that stand out to me. You read the whole poem, there might be something else in it that stands out to you. But listen to this. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for that doubt too. That is to say, they may, there might be some point in what they're saying to you. You shouldn't disregard it completely. You are not all-knowing. So if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired of waiting. I know that one. Or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. Don't be swept away by that energy. And yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. You're not thinking for the sake of thinking. There should be something in there that serves you. And then later on in the poems, 2 more lines that stood out to me. If you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, there it is. Do not get swept away by the energy of the crowd. Or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch. And then in the end, you'll be a man, my son. That is what makes a wise person, an enlightened person, a strong person. And I am. Now, just one last thing I want to say. What is happening at the moment, I think, is created by us. I really think we should stop looking out there for the source. That, I think, really is the conjurer's trick. Look all the way out there. And then you don't see yourself or what's right in front of your nose. Through the internet, somebody has opened the lid of the bottomless pit. Yeah? And it's all coming spewing out on the internet. At the moment, knowledge, this is a trolling for knowledge. And there may be different things that they're trolling for. But the spiritual, I would say, are also looking for knowledge. They're getting their nuggets out of there. And I would say they are doing exactly what I said you should be doing. They are not indiscriminately looking at what we are spewing out, saying it is all enlightened knowledge, but they will be trained minds that will see the nuggets of gold and that will disregard the insanity. It is allowed to happen. This is allowed to happen. And the internet is being given as an aid. So we can talk to each other, so we can, create these energies. And as I said, many will not make it through this. They will disintegrate. They will lose themselves in this. And that is also allowed to happen. those that have spiritual knowledge will know of that danger, that this can kill you on the level of consciousness, not just the body. And they're allowing for that sacrifice to happen so they can get the nuggets of gold out of and expand their own consciousness in a controlled way, while those around them are losing their heads. So do not be the sacrifice. Have discernment. Hold on to your truth. This is not ignorance. You don't know it all, but you know something. Build on that, not on thin air. And then expand. Know the difference between wisdom and insanity. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.